The shift to New Earth is definitely accelerating. And for some of you, it may actually be a very painful experience, which can be very surprising, right? When we think about the shift to New Earth, we think of love, we think of light, we think of all of these amazing experiences, all these amazing things happening, uh, eliminating, the worry of money and the worry of energy and being able to manifest and heal, health, all those types of things. But we are in this reality now to experience a transition, meaning there isn't going to be a snap or a flash, and you're going to find yourself in a new earth, especially collectively. Now, you have the ability to visit that frequency if you can set aside all of those anchors that are tying you to a 3D reality. But you can envision it, you can sit with it, you can manifest what that feels like, and you can even manifest experiences. I've had experiences where I've actually been sitting in this new earth frequency, and it was absolutely amazing. Yet my body was still anchored here in more of a 3D reality. I have visited my ET guides, I have visited the Federation on large craft, on small craft, in higher frequency realities. I was there consciously, but yet I was sitting here in a 3D reality. So we are working to download, to ground, integrate more of our light so that our bodies become lighter, so that we rise in frequency, we activate our light body, and we are able to physically, per se, physically experience that new earth, not just etherically. Now, I know, we say that 5D is not a physical dimension, but there is a physicality to it, meaning that you can bring your current identity with you, be it will be an expanded version of you, it will be a much less dense and lighter version of you, but yet you, the identity, can remain intact. That's what this ascension process is all about. So in this video, I want to dive into why you may be experiencing some pain, some uncomfortableness during this shift. Okay, so we are navigating this reality, and in order to get from point A to point C, we need to move through point B. And we think of that as the fourth dimensional field, right? We're going from this dense physical reality to a lighter energetic reality known as 5D or New Earth. But we need to navigate through the fourth dimensional field. Now, in order to do that, and to do that within a timeline, there's a continuity of time, there's a continuity of events. Like I said, we can't just snap our fingers and be there. We're here to experience this transition. And in order to experience this transition, we need to allow the old to fall away, meaning we have to detach and let go from the old systems that kept humanity rooted in a 3D reality. Now, what are those symptoms? Okay, so that's what we're going to dive into, the systems. What are those systems? We're going to dive into that right now. And I'm going to pop up my whiteboard here and we're going to get rolling. So we have, as I indicated earlier, I'm going to start over here. We have this ascension line, right? And it's been kind of creeping up. And now recently, it's gone like this. So things are accelerating. So we've had decades of ascension slowly anchoring and a change in timeline. But recently, really since 2012-ish, we've had this steep incline. Okay, so meaning we are leaving this old reality and we are heading to a new reality. Okay, and the steeper that line gets, the more we are asked to release what anchors us down here. Okay, so we have various systems that anchor us into the 3D, and it's been designed like that to keep humanity anchored in a lower vibrational state. We become disempowered. We give up our control. We give that control up to external systems. Okay, so if we have a timeline here, we think we have 3D here. We have this timeline, right? We have 5D here, and this is New Earth, let's just say. Okay. And here we have, let's just say we've got like the fourth dimensional field represented here, right? So this is 4D. 4D, right? We've got all of this. We got low 4D, we've got middle, we've got high four dimensional field. Now, as we we start to ascend. So maybe we're on this little bit of uprising here. We're moving towards this lower fourth dimensional field here. So we start to vibrate up into this lower fourth dimensional field. And we enter this field and we're now asked to put down all of that weight of the things that have been anchoring us to a three-dimensional field, which is all those fears, the anxieties, the stresses, the disempowerment, talk about all the lower chakra stuff, right? So we work to get into the lower chakras. We use breath work to get in there and we start to clear that energy. So how do we clear it? Well, we got to experience it. We got to feel it, right? So we breathe into it, we release it, we get downloads, DNA activates, releases the density, we start to feel the fear. Now, that fear here that's in this lower fourth dimensional field, it starts to manifest maybe, depending on your beliefs, could be as like evilness, things like that, right? Even in the third dimensional field, you could be pointing to certain people on the political spectrum saying, okay, this one's evil, this one's good, right? There's a polarity to it. Fourth dimensional field, we start getting into the more etheric, maybe the ET guides, your spirit guides. Maybe there's, if you're religious based, there's demons, those types of things. So those manifest through as a result of the dense energy within your body, the fear. Okay, so this fear starts to come forward, and we need to feel this fear to get up into here and to further move through the fourth dimensional field. Okay, so we do this in this process. We start to increase our vibration, right? And as we increase our vibration, we rise up into higher frequencies. Okay, so that's part of the healing process, the energy healing process. That's what I work with so many people on in A New You. And by the way, I want to mention at this point, if you want to learn more about my A New You program that has helped so many people, go ahead and drop A New You in the comment, and I will send you a link to a free masterclass that will give you a whole bunch of information as to what the program's about. So you can see if it's a good fit for you. That is a free masterclass. Drop New You in the comments, and I will send that to you right away. Okay, so we're back on this timeline here. So we are moving to New Earth and we're experiencing physicality. So physicality is really on a timeline. We're event by event by event. Remember, I've talked about frequency. If we take this timeline and we stand it upright, right? We have like a frequency ladder here. Okay. So we've got like 3D, 4D, and 5D. Okay. So essentially it's just a timeline stacked vertically. Okay. So when we lay that timeline down flat, lay this frequency ladder down flat, we have a timeline, and that's what's happening. So my Pleiadian guide always tells me, I know she's here, right? And up 6D. Okay. And she always tells me that on a timeline, it's from the future. That's why you may have people say that the Pleiadians and the Federation, they are us in the future. Okay. Because we're looking at that from a timeline perspective. When we look at it from a frequency perspective, we're here. We're on this frequency ladder. Okay. So we get into a more dense reality. This translates into a timeline. So if you're connecting with your future self or your higher self, you are communicating with an aspect of you that's up here. Okay. And you're down here. But we could say, oh, it's our future self because on a timeline, it would appear that that's in the future. Okay. So back in 3D though. So we're here right now. And this is where the pain starts. Okay. You're going to be asked now, what beliefs are you ready to release? What beliefs or false beliefs no longer serve you? Okay, so we're moving in up this way. Okay, and all of these things are coming into your awareness, and we're seeing it now happen collectively, and people are freaking out. So we've got various systems over here. Let's see, we've got the medical, we've got uh, pharmaceutical, we've got energy. Let's call this energy. We've got education, right? These are big systems. And we have the biggest one, which is what? What's the biggest system, right? It's government, isn't it? So kind of encompasses all of this because this here is tied in with all of these systems. Okay, it's the driving force. And these are 3D systems. These systems were set up to energetically keep your energy stuck where you are down here in the lower chakras. Okay, so energy can't move up here, right? Because we know when we could ground our divine light comes in here and we can anchor it down here in the lower chakras. Okay, what happens is it opens up this channel and it shoots up into the brain, shoots up here, right? Comes in the crown, anchors down low, shoots up here. This is when you have been healing energetically, you've been healing the stuck energy, you've been feeling the fear, okay? And working through the anxiety, all that shadow work stuff, the inner child work, whatever you want to call it, it all represents stuck energy. When you start to clear that, what happens is your divine energy comes down, kind of bounces off the planet, right? Comes down into chakra 10, down here, and it shoots right back up. And because this channel is clear, gets up into your brain, you passes your third eye, up into your brain, and it comes out in this beautiful toric field. So you start to experience a higher frequency reality, okay? One that's approaching over here, okay? So we're now on this path. So what's happening is this is accelerating because we are being asked to take a look at all of these 3D systems and decide what no longer serves us. Okay. When you look at all of these systems, pharmaceutical, medical, energy, education, these are just examples. There are many, many more. We can look at these and ask ourselves, are these empowering or are these disempowering? So I look at the pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical companies, they basically tell me that if I have a condition, I need outside assistance. Okay, I need outside assistance. I cannot heal myself. That's disempowering, isn't it? Right? So as it stands from a 3D perspective, right, we're down here from a 3D perspective, pharmaceuticals disempowering. Same with the medical profession. So again, when we have a condition, we are run through a whole bunch of tests. We're asked to go see a whole bunch of specialists, okay? And sure, these systems can prolong life and can it can keep you alive per se, right? But it is doing so through external help, through these beliefs that the medical profession is empowering. When we empower the medical profession, we disempower our own ability to heal. When we come back down here and we start to clear these energetic blockages, guess what? You start to align with your ability to heal. It's energy healing, right? So now, without needing all the external drugs, without needing the tests, the procedures, and all these things here, you're moving more down here. You're becoming empowered. Your energy is moving up past your solar plexus into your heart space. You're operating more from a frequency of love and compassion and not fear and anxiety. Okay, we can go through this. So that's medical profession here. And we've got energy here, right? So energy is another thing. So humanity has been kept stagnant because of energy and fossil fuels. These are limited resources. So what's happened? The powers that be know that these are limited resources. So they've come up with another way to make it look like we're advancing technologically, but yet still keep us disempowered and keep energy out of our reach. Okay. And we could go back to medical too, and we could talk about how disempowered we're kept in terms of potential cures and cures that already exist for various diseases, but yet they're held back from the public because it doesn't serve this energy of keeping us stuck in 3D, in this loop of disempowerment, energy stuck down here, right? So these things exist. There are cures. There are alternate energy forms. Now, I'm not talking about solar. I'm not talking about wind power. I'm talking about things like hydrogen power and medical and pharmaceutical. We could look at holistic medicine and things like med beds. Okay, so these are more upper fourth dimensional concepts. Okay, so we're transitioning from this old disempowered system to a more empowering system here, hydrogen, free energy, essentially. It's the most abundant, one of the most abundant elements in the universe. It's available. Does it work? I personally built a hydrogen generator for a car probably about 10 years ago. Yeah, it works. Okay. Personal experience here. Okay. Healing. I've worked with people and I have healed energetically without the use of external substances. Do these work? Yes. But you may not believe they work because of what you're being told. So that keeps you stuck down here in the lower chakras. Remember, when we look at the body on a frequency bandwidth, your energy stuck here. Whoops, your 3D, and up here as it's you're more 5D. You see? Okay, so that's what's going on. So these things are keeping us in these lower frequency realities, these systems. Now, education system, the same way. You need a higher education. You need to go through all of these courses. You need to take all these things that are not relevant to you. All of these types of ideas are designed to keep you limited. You have to pay large amounts of money for an education, and then you want to start a family, you go out and you have to get a mortgage, you've got student loans. All of these things are designed to keep you disempowered. So we have the education system. And these are just examples. There are many other systems here. Now, am I saying that all of these systems need to be destroyed? That is not what I'm saying, because we are going through a transition, but this transition is about empowerment. It is about returning the power to the people. So I want to ask you this big fundamental question. When you look at any of these systems, let's take pharmaceuticals, for example, does that current system, the pharmaceutical industry, align truly with your vision of New Earth? What that New Earth experience looks like to you? Does the current pharmaceutical industry align with that? Yes or no? It's a simple question. Okay. Same with the medical profession. Now, I mentioned med beds, which are a fourth dimensional technology. We're moving into 5D, where you will have the ability to become further empowered with healing. Okay, but a med bed's like a transitional thing. It ties in the physical with the quantum. Okay, now when I have visited the large craft, there were times when I would have to spend some time in like a crystal room or a crystal chamber before I was able to interact with the other beings there. So I, excuse me, equated that to being like a med bed where my frequency was being adjusted so that I can um, move my consciousness into a higher frequency reality where the Federation was, for example, or where my Pleiadian guide was. Didn't happen all the time, but there were times when that did happen. Okay, so these are transitional things. Medicine, we're getting into more homeopathic. You've got Reiki, you've got supplements and vitamins and things like that that are transitional that help us release the grip from the 3D control of medical and pharmaceuticals and start to empower yourself because you can make choices about yourself and your own health, right? And move forward. That gets your energy moving up the channel again, okay? Same with energy. We've got this nonsense of solar in wind. Now, here's a good question. When you envision New Earth, do you envision wind farms all over the place? It's solar panels. It's a very straightforward question, right? I don't. I've experienced New Earth. I didn't experience any of that because there are energy sources from the 0 point field that we're going to access as we move forward here towards 5D. Now, that may look like hydrogen, right? Along the way, hydrogen energy, right? Hydrogen, if you can, the generator I made created hydrogen or generated hydrogen from water, from tap water. So kind of hard to tax, right? So that's kind of outside of this system. So you can see how these systems are designed to keep you disempowered. Now, again, back to the medical profession and back to the universities and the education system, where all of these programs are funded for cancer research and all of these amazing programs for diabetes and all of these things are being funded sounds really, really good. But what if you were to learn that there was a cure for cancer that has been kept from you? That would be very disempowering, wouldn't it? Right? So we've spent years relying on external sources instead of being given something that can move us out of the fear and start to propel us collectively into the fourth dimensional field. Now, I know a cure for cancer, if it's a pill or something, it's still an external substance, but that is a step towards empowerment and your ability to release this energy, get it up into the heart space here and alchemize it, right? So that you can start experiencing this beautiful toric field of 5D New Earth. So I ask you again, is energy something that the current state of energy, we're moving in solar panels and wind farms, right? That's just the next layer of fuel of fossil fuels, right? It's being replaced, or they want to replace it with another disempowering technology that's not efficient. Okay, does that align with your vision of New Earth? Does the current education system going into debt, right, align with your version of New Earth? Does the monetary system, the current monetary system, align with your version of New Earth? These are fundamental questions. Now, that leads to the next point. If it doesn't align with the New Earth, how do we get through this? How do we pass through this? Okay. Well, that goes back to this sharp increase here, what we're starting to experience. We need to start moving away from these bloated government controlled systems. Here's another question for you. Government, big government, does that align with your vision of New Earth? Every time I have visited the Federation, they come to me a lot. There have been times when I have consciously visited them on their craft. It was a very different experience. Sure, there's a federation. It was not run like the government is run here. It was more of an open type of a forum. It was an empowering type of a forum, and everybody has a say. Okay, it was very much kind of like some of the Star Trek things that you see, right? And it's in a weird kind of way, a synchronistic kind of way. So when you look at today's government with all of the money being spent and the inflation, okay, and the fraud and the corruption and all of these things that, we all knew were there, but kind of turned away from it because, it didn't have that direct effect on us, right? So we didn't feel the pain per se, even though with inflation is created because we're spending far more than we're taking in, right? But, we go to the store, things are a little bit more. We don't really equate that as suffering, but when big things start to get exposed and things start to get cut in an effort to take government down, okay, so we're going to have like a pharmaceutical industry here, maybe that's a lot smaller. And maybe we're going to have a medical profession that's a lot smaller. And maybe energy, right, as we move through 4D, that's a lot smaller. And same with education, much smaller. Okay, much smaller. All these other systems, much, much smaller. Government, much, much smaller. Okay, so we're going from disempowerment here as we're moving through the 4D field, we're becoming empowered. Okay. We are in control of our future. Now, that can make you feel very uncomfortable. The move from this to this is very uncomfortable if your identity is anchored to this. Okay. If your identity is anchored to this and we're losing this, you're going to start to feel anxious, stressed, and scared. Okay. Meaning you have stuck energy down here. Your energy is not getting past here. Right. So up here, you're experiencing a very limited reality, one that's disempowering, one that's scared, because you have placed a lot of reliance on big external institutions to keep you safe. But here's the thing, you have the ability within you to feel safe, to feel safety, get your body, get your nervous system out of fight or flight. And that is clearing these energy blockages and getting your energy moving. You become more grounded, you become more anchored, and you become more in the moment, present, aligned, and trusting that what we are going through now, this acceleration and all the pain you may be feeling, is because these limiting beliefs that had you feeling safe are no longer serving you. You know what? It's time to face it. Because if you don't face it, you are going to continue to suffer because you are anchoring your identity into an old 3D timeline that is falling apart. We cannot get to 5D collectively without or allowing the 3D reality to fall apart. That's the ascension process. That's why you came. You are here to experience this transition, but you have old wounds, old energy, trauma, density that is keeping you anchored to an unconscious reality, one reality where you didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, but you were okay with that. But now the veil is being pulled away and you are starting to be able to see all of it. And that can make you feel uncomfortable because you have to start questioning, where are we headed? I don't know. It's the unknown. And that could bring up fear and make you not feel safe. So we start to breathe into the lower chakras to anchor into the body and to get our energy moving. Okay. A lot of these old systems, like I said, they're not going to vanish per se, but they're going to start to change. They're going to morph because our reality is changing. We are ascending. Therefore, these old systems need to change as well. You need to be able or prepared to let go of what was so that you can create space for what is to come. It's a very exciting time right now. It can be a very scary time right now. But I go back to asking you these questions. Do these systems fit in with your idea of New Earth? Now, you may say they fit in with my idea of where I'm at now. That's on a lower frequency timeline. Okay. And those beliefs are being challenged as more gets exposed. But again, I ask you this fundamental question. Do these systems align with your vision of New Earth? And if that answer is no, then it's time to allow these systems to break down, to change, to be reconstituted, to be shrunk so that the power can be restored to the people. We're going through this big solar plexus expansion right now. People call the grand solar flash, the great solar flash, all of these terms. This is a collective awakening in the solar plexus where you are being offered the opportunity to become empowered, meaning you need to release these old ideas, outdated beliefs that you need these big external systems to feel safe. Okay? They are not navigating with us to New Earth in their current form. They are going to change. We're starting to see that change. It's happening faster and faster. That's why you may be feeling scared. You may be feeling excited. For those of you watching this video who are able to release the old and allow what's ready to birth, what's ready to come forward, amazing job. We are there with you. I am there with you. My guides, the Federation, are there with you as well. If you find yourself suffering, know that we are holding space for you to be able to release those chains to the old reality and embrace the shift to New Earth. This is an incredibly powerful time. I want you to be able to continuously ask yourself that question. Is what I'm seeing that everybody's freaking out about, is that something that aligns with New Earth? And you're going to most likely agree that it does not. And that means that these systems are going to change and we are starting to experience that today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed the whiteboard. First time I've used the whiteboard. Want to get this baby back in here in future videos as well. And again, if you want to learn more about a new you, drop new you in the comments, and I'll send you a link to my free masterclass. That's where we get into all of this amazing stuff here. So very, very powerful, helps so many people. And I'd love to share more about it with you. If you have not subscribed, please do so before ending this video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.